It's Mosley Show. Happy Tuesday as we're ready to roll. We got a lot planned for you today. We've got a lot of college football to react to. I noticed last night, Scotty Swingler with me as always. Scotty, I mean, you know, Mondays are reserved for like huge Cowboys reaction, usually Baylor reaction. Tuesday, I found myself today playing a little catch up because I make this so with our Doomsday podcast, and it's so Cowboys related, everything we do. You know, earlier today, I really got caught up on a lot of stuff from the NFL weekend and what happened in other games. And it's just interesting because you get so far wrapped up into the Cowboys, and you're like, wait a second, they're like, I'm looking at today because I used to have to do these for ESPN.com, Scotty, these power rankings. Everybody has a power ranking, right? We'll have rankings today. We do have the AP top 25 for college women's basketball that we'll get to later in the program. And Scotty, the good news is we're in it. We're in it. I mean, you got to be in it, right? You got to be. Now, again, it's more important to be in it and high in it later in the season, but it's fun to be in there to start. The Baylor men have taken a break from the top 25. Oh, my gosh. We talked about it yesterday. Scott deserves more of the benefit of the doubt than he gets. I swear it goes way back to the people doubting Scott, and you would have thought like winning a national title would have just blown all that away. But the minute he goes a year or two with kind of un-Scott-like teams, or 1 year where, I mean, last year was not good. Okay, let's not act like it was. They got in the tournament, they won a game. There's that, but Scott it's unfair. It's unfair to be as accomplished and to be as great as he is, and to not have more of the national respect. You don't. I mean, Grant McCaslin is a great friend of mine, and like here's how good a friend Grant is. Scotty, if you wanted Grant on it, like if I sent him, I go, I'm really sorry to do this to you, but I've got to have you at 2:15 today. Grant would do it. He would find a way to do it. So he's a great friend and a good guy. But like he hasn't done enough yet at Tech to just sort of be granted top 10 status at all times. Scott has. But I know Scott has a whole different team, and we don't know. Although, Scotty, and I don't want to go too far on this, but if Kansas had Tunde, and Kansas has another great 5-star freshman that they're building around this year and could be their best player. But I promise you, if they had Tunde instead of their guy, they would still be exactly where they are right now, right? They'd be at least ranked 19th. And the truth is, the presence of Tunde on this team, along with a nice supporting cast, should give Baylor a top 25 ranking. And unfortunately, that is not the case right now. Lots to get to today. Breaking news yesterday during our show. Now, we were way into Cowboys, and we'll get right back into it. And in fact, Scotty and I have some things to share with you moving forward that Jerry Jones said this very morning. And so we'll get into some of that and react to it. But yesterday, Scotty, and we do have Grayson Grundhoefer, the Baylor, the Sikkim 365. He's going to be stopping by. And, you know, I used to have Grayson on, enjoyed it, really good information, really good insight, some good recruiting stuff. We'll see. For instance, Scotty, I noticed that, and I know you love recruiting as well, when this Penn State change was made, Baylor people started bringing up a certain name that's on Penn State. And I do this, we'll get Grayson's take on this, but I do remember there was a kid Baylor wanted, and I think he ended up choosing Penn State, or maybe Baylor. I have this vague memories, and his name is Max. And the Bears were after him at one point. He ends up at Penn State. And now, because of the change, I see Baylor people saying, hey, what does this mean? What is this? Could they get back into it with Max? And we'll look at that. Grayson will have good answers for that. And then Scotty, if you've got any recruiting stuff you want to get off the top of, get off your chest, this is a good time to do it because Grayson can dig in on that. But Grayson's good at injuries, and we can really kind of delve into this Baylor TCU thing, what it means, the way Baylor might approach it, what Baylor did over the bye, and then what they could do to help with this pass rush. Because, one of the things that, Scotty, you and I think have after games, we do give our visceral reactions and this and that, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But rather than us just saying there are not enough sacks, this would be a good time to delve into, they actually have a decent pressure rate. Believe it or not, they're actually putting some pressure on the quarterback. Why are they not getting sacks? Why are they so out of control? What could they do to solve some of these things? And then again, some of these dime packages, the peso package. Scotty, there's really nothing in life you like more than talking about Dave Aranda, the peso, right? And talking about the Spanish word peso, pesos like money in Spanish. Baylor has that peso package they can put together. Could this be the week? Could Carl come racing back? Could Carl Williams show up and help this team? I wouldn't bet on it. One thing I want to ask Grayson and Scotty is why do all these other players, why do they play through stuff? And Bryson's out there with a rib injury, and then I'm reading Carl has to be at 100% before they're going to bring him back. Okay, really? Why? Why? None of these other players, his teammates are out there at far less than 100%. Why do I have to read that Carl Williams has to be everything in his body has to be perfect before he could come out and help? Because, they could very much use some help in that secondary right now. And right now, I mean, honestly, their corners are just kind of Thornton, Bush, Williford, Jenkins. They're giving it all they have, but it's not great. It's not great. And the good news is TCU's not great. You think the Cowboys secondary is bad? And it is. It is. Watch this TCU secondary. This is not your Gary Patterson secondary. These are not they're not the Patterson of old TCU. I mean, they have somebody that's been with them for years, but I think he plays safety. I'm thinking about Bud Clark. Scotty, is Bud Clark still at TCU? Doesn't it feel like we've known about Bud Clark for years? I feel like I turned on a TCU game recently, and Bud Clark's still running around out there. We'll have to confirm that. I believe he is still a part of that TCU team, and so we'll get into that as we move forward here on the Mosley Show. So 2:00 for your big Baylor, and then yesterday, I've been meaning to get to this. We had a first NFL firing. I mean, we've gotten used now to college coaches just getting thrown overboard. 0-3, 0-4. All right, he's donezo. He's gone. I mean, now UCLA has won 2 games since then. I mean, since all these coaches started getting fired, James Franklin was not one of those coaches. They were sitting pretty at top 5 in the country, and then they go lost to Oregon, lost to UCLA, lost to Northwestern, fired. And now James Franklin, I mean, that's where we are, Scotty. Now the guy at Tennessee who got fired at Tennessee, it will not be like Franklin. Franklin's an accomplished enough college coach that literally we're already to the point where it's their fan base is give me Franklin. Give me James Franklin. I mean, I respect Dave Aranda, and I want to see Dave Aranda get this thing done. But the thing you would not want to do, Scotty, is put any kind of poll out there. If you were Sikkim 365 or Scotty, if you and I were capable of putting up a poll, I think you are. Scotty actually does have that ability. If we put up a poll right now, we're not going to do this. Let's not do this, Scotty. This would not help our cause right now. But Aranda or James Franklin, it would be, I would be afraid that it would be about 80-20. It would be 80% James Franklin. And it's not so much about James Franklin being great. It's just like a large portion of this Baylor fan base is kind of about had it with Aranda. Although the Bears sit there 4-2. Bears have everything right out in front of them. Scotty, does that not seem like something you and I will be saying even when they're 4-4, though? Everything's out there. Everything in front of them.
No, it doesn't, because 4-4 would mean 2 more conference losses, which would take you out of this championship game. Currently,
that was more for effect. But yes. If
we're you asked me a question, Matt, and eventually you ask me enough questions, and I take one as not being rhetorical. By the way, let me know. I'm sure I could throw up a poll sometime. We won't throw up that one.
Yeah, let's stay away from that one. I do think that would be like. It is amazing to think. You and I were talking about this off air earlier today. Like that James Franklin already, just bottoms out. Just a horrible ending. $50 million to make you go away. Don't you think poor old Jimbo's sitting there like, well, why nobody ever come after me? I was pretty good. I won a national title at Florida State. I had my moments. I beat the mighty Saban a couple of times. I took down Saban. I took down Alabama. Nobody really, from what I could tell, tried to ever come after Jimbo. He might have had like smaller school tie-ins. Scotty, I would say right now, you got to think Florida. You got to think Auburn. You got to think Nebraska. If Matt Rule goes to Penn State, there are 5 schools immediately you think of that would be, okay, I'll sign up for James Franklin, because and I saw somebody that said something today, Scotty, is like, by the way, Scotty, whether they're rhetorical or not, always get involved. I'm fine with that. I was just giving you a hard time. You don't feel like you just got to eat your paparolos and just kind of paparolas or paparolas. I always said roll. How they spell it? They end it with an A. Paparolas. Anyway, Scotty had some
false. False.
They end it with
ROLLO.
Paparolos. Okay, well that's why I called it paparolos. Somewhere over the years, over the 30 years since I was hanging out at Paparolos, I got it in my head that maybe it was paparolas. What kinds you get, buddy, today from, do they get it over there pretty quickly? Because now I've had some really good success over the years with, who are our buddies over at, over on 13th or 12th Street? Oh, Shorty's.
Yeah.
With me.
Love Shorty's.
Shorty's advertised with me for years. We probably bring them back over. Salazar, their GM, big time friend of the show. He likes hockey. He's way into hockey. But what topping did you get, and how good was their delivery? Did Paparolos get it over there pretty quickly?
Yeah, so Paparolos doesn't deliver, but they work with DoorDash. So I DoorDash some Paparolos, and it's pretty affordable. I think if you spend over $10 at Paparolos, they waive the delivery fee. Nice. So that's fantastic. So I think I got a small 4-meat pizza. I got some pepperoni, Italian sausage, Canadian bacon, and bacon. And of course, the great thing about Paparolos is they give you a side of ranch and a side of jalapenos with the pizza. So use some of that as well. It was excellent. That is a pizza, Matt, interestingly. I like fresh out of the oven pizza. I like refrigerator day old cold pizza.
Yeah.
Paparolos is one of the few pizzas, and I don't know why this is. I don't know the science. It's one of the few pizzas. It comes to me delivery. It's warmer than lukewarm, but it is not particularly warm.
Yeah.
And I still think it really hits. It really was a nice lunch break.
Yeah,
today.
You need some of those like Neapolitan type, really thin crust. You really need to be on the scene, because the time, to eat it immediately, because by the time it gets to you, yeah, we're usually hungry enough where any pizza will do, but that'll get away from you a little bit. We ought to put it out to we ought to have some bidders on the official pizza. Who wants to become the official pizza? We'll just let them fight it. What's that thing called out there by the river? Rise.
Slow Rise.
Slow Rise.
Yeah, I was telling you, there's lots of great pizza now in Waco. Slow Rise,
Shorties, Paparolo's.
I think the best
Yeah,
pizza in town might be at Southern Roots.
yeah.
Lucky Bucks has great pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let somebody fight for the affections of the Mosley show, and then you could have one of those awesome logos like we have for Central National Bank, or like we have for Schmaltz, the official sandwich. Look at that. Oh, Scotty's so quick on the trigger. That Schmaltz makes me. Boy, Scotty, if I were you, and you've already had the pizza, so now you're full, but at some point this week, you'll stroll over across the street over Franklin. You're just basically across the street from the Alico building, and there you'll be at one of the greatest sandwich shops in America. And then you can order the Schmaltz, and you'll tell them, no olives, please. No olives, please. Please hold the olives. But man, that gets me excited. And you get that twice toasted bread. I like bread that's really that crispy bread. So anyway, that is good stuff. Okay, let's talk some Cowboys, because I promised we would be doing this. And Scotty, I want to start with this is Jerry got out there this morning on one of his own shows. Okay, he's got the show on the flagship station 105.3. All right, and you get to hear from Jerry on Tuesday mornings. And then others ran into Jerry at some official event today. So Jerry, you had two different places where Jerry could talk. And I got, Scotty, people out there, even on Pro Football Talk, said Jerry didn't talk after that game. So it's serious. Jerry didn't talk after the Carolina. Now, on the road games, there are times he doesn't talk. All right. So it's not that crazy. Now, it would be shocking after a road game if he didn't talk, or excuse me, after a home game. So the Commanders are coming to town. And Scotty, I don't know if you got to see. First of all, I don't know why you're playing two Monday Night Football games at the same time. Like it's like, can you have too much of a good thing? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And so I got one game in a major. It's like, okay, what's happening over here with Buffalo? What's happening with Buffalo and Atlanta? They're over here. They just entered the fourth quarter. And then I got the second half starting with the Commanders. I mean, it's like, yes, we love that on our Sundays. We love having all those games going at noon and then the games at 3. We're trained for this. We're not trained for this on Mondays. This is not how, it's only been happening for 50 years now. Monday Night Football has only been around for 50 years. And lately it's like, hey, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll try to play a couple of these games at the same time. Why? You hired Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, and you're paying them a combined probably 25 million a year, those two broadcasters, to do your games. And you're going to have another broadcast with Chris Fowler, who's the college football guy. So anyway, I don't understand all that. But there they are. Scotty, this makes you mad at the Cowboys all over again, because they could be like a half step behind the Eagles and right there with the Commanders. Commanders find a way to lose that game at the end. Scotty, I'm sure you were monitoring this. There they are, late in the first half. And late in the game, late in the second half. And all they got to do is, it's 3rd and 1. Get one first down, the game's pretty much over. Then they have to use their timeouts. They're probably not going to be able to stop you. They're not going to get the ball back. The Bears are going to lose that game and fall to 2-3. Raining. Jaden Daniels gets the ball. He never has it. He's going back there to hand off to Bill, the man they call Bill. I kind of like that guy. Which is he's got like a hyphenated name. I kind of like that running back for the Commanders. Jaden is going back there, and the ball is just bobbling around everywhere. Ball never gets into the hands of Bill. Bill fumbles. Bears are on it. Bears go down and win that game. Scotty, that's just, It's so ridiculous that the Cowboys were right there and could have been 3-2-1 with a victory over the Rico Dowdle-led Carolina Panthers, and they couldn't get it done. You have this division that honestly now looks pretty bad. I mean, the most exciting team of the division is probably the Giants. They're sitting there at 2-4. They got Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. They got it's the most fun team around. And then the rest of them, the Eagles all hate each other. Like the receivers hate the quarterback and the running back hate everybody else on the offense. They're sick of each other. Okay, so you got the defending champs who are in a bad way right now. You got the Commanders who lose to the Bears. I mean, Scotty, think about that. The Bears fans right now have to be like, well, we got this Ben Johnson. Caleb's playing okay. What's his name? Ran for 1 million yards. Who's number 4 for the Bears? DeAndre Swift. I mean, DeAndre Swift's running roughshod over everybody. Like, Bears fans have hope. Caleb played well last week. Didn't get them beat last night. Played well enough for them to win. They've got hope. They've got hope moving forward. The Cowboys have like the most efficient quarterback in the game right now, like in the NFL, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just like, well, all right, they'll get beat next week. Then they'll get beat again. Their defense can't stop anybody. They are pathetic. All right, let's hear from, though, Jerry Jones. Not to be outdone. And just remember, we got Grayson Grundhoefer coming up at 2 o'clock. All right, to talk some Baylor with us as they get ready for TCU. This is Jerry Jones, and he was asked on 105.3 this morning about a potential trade using those Micah picks. Could you make a trade, Jerry?
Untouchable are the Green Bay first-round picks they sent in terms of being able to get a player before the deadline?
Well, you're talking about the Parsons trade and the picks we got with those.
Yeah, like, are they untouchable to try to use to get a player at the deadline?
No, I've never. That's why I didn't understand your question, and I'm not criticizing the question. But there's nothing untouchable if we can improve our team and it makes sense for what we give up in the future. All of it's there. And you're right in one respect. We've got major resources that we wouldn't have had we not made that trade. A lot of people don't realize that Kenny Clark makes upward of $24 million this year. We only pay 2 of that. And so that created quite a availability for us that we wouldn't have had. And so all of that is no question about it. And I promise you, yours truly or anybody that's associated with the Cowboys has got our eyes really open in ways that we can help this defense. And certainly I don't want to preclude anything on offense either. But in answer to your question, there's nothing untouchable in our resources to help our team. And there's no way that I'm at a point right now to where I would not do something because of where we are into the season, 6 games. I would go as early as I would if we were talking 3 games back.
Okay. He's talking about 3 games ago, whatever the record was at that point. There's 6 games in. Jerry's still willing to run in there and save the team with a trade. Nothing's untouchable. In fact, it almost, and I know Choppy's, RJ Choppy, he used to work with us at 103.3 back in the day. I've known him forever. So I wouldn't say he was set up to ask that question, but the way Jerry answered it was almost kind of like, oh, let's puff up. Let's let Jerry brag on his trades. Jerry, first of all, this all is some big weird charade. Oh, Kenny Clark's great. Kenny Clark not only is a great player, but he's brought in all this extra room because the Packers are having to pay for a lot of it. So look at all this extra financial room they have. Well, it didn't help them. Didn't help them in Panthers land, did it? Didn't help them stop Rico Dowdle. I mean, I'm just kind of just baffling. It's baffling to hear a man talk about almost like he enjoyed having old Rico, Uncle Rico, just stick it to him. I mean, like, hey, yeah, we knew that could happen. Oh, okay. Well, if you knew Rico Dowdle was capable of this, you probably shouldn't let him go. I mean, I mean, he by the way, Rico Dowdle was good for the Cowboys last year. And Javonte Williams has been good. Wasn't great the other day. Had 29 rushing yards. But again, this is some classic Jerry trying to act like something's going on with the trade. This is a look over here moment. Don't look at our record. Look at what I could do. Look at what I could go. You know what what would they do? I mean, they already acted like they're a great run defense now that Mike is gone. So think how embarrassing it would have to be if they packaged some picks, some of these great picks that they acquired to go get a pass rusher. The same thing they traded in the first place. It's just like a vicious cycle. Let's get all these picks, and then let's turn around and go find us a pass rusher. Oh, but we saved money. We didn't have to spend $47 million. And, I mean, okay. Is there a pass rusher that you could somehow save a bunch of money on and he could make a great impact? If that guy's out there, then great. Go get him. But, I mean, Trey Hendrickson or any of these people, Trey Hendrickson's been in his own contract dispute. He's not coming in here like, oh, yeah, we'd love to sign here, and then we can have another contract dispute. Then I'll have another sit out. I'll sit out this year. I mean, he's only signed through the rest of this season, and then I think he's going to be out there again looking for the next stop. All right, Scotty, let's do the this is Jerry defending Matt Eberflus and the decision to bring in Eberflus, which might be the undoing of poor Shoddy. I mean, Shoddy's trying to get the job, and Shoddy had zero hand in hiring his own defensive coordinator. So this is why, by the way, Jerry is so defensive, and he's going to bat for Matt Eberflus. Here's Jerry on Eberflus.
Is Eberflus still the guy to get this defense going in the right direction? And what do you say to the fans who want him replaced?
He's been in that. He's had tremendous experience. He's dealt with adversity with a long record, not only with us, but with his tenure at Chicago and Indianapolis. And he's had some great successes, had some very great successes, but he's had his tail kicked. That's who I want in the foxhole with me, because there's no such thing as having all the answers. And so when I jumped at it, when I saw we had a chance to get him, I still feel as strongly as I did the day we brought him in here. And these things that we're dealing with here are not one, two major things. There are a lot of little things that you can address and get right, and you can adjust the nuances of them. And for instance, the other day, we couldn't stop the run, yet we were within a possession. If we drive that ball at the end of the game, we got a good chance to win it. We were up all day for the most part. And so there's a lot of ways to win football games, and Flus is dealing with nuances there that we can adjust and change. And you do adjust, and you do change, and there will be that. What's interesting is that the way the game panned out was very, very on point with the way that our coaches planned for the game to pan out. We just thought we could get more stops. We thought we could physically do a better job with them, and they were able to scheme us a little bit. That to their credit, but we were in that game close enough. What I think I don't want to take too long on this answer, but Carolina is easy to overlook as a formidable matchup with us. They match up right good against where we need the work, and so they were a tough opponent for us the other day. We almost pulled it off.
Scotty, the Panthers were such a tough opponent, such a tough matchup, that for the first time since 2021, they've climbed back to 500. They've been one of the least tough matchups for everybody else in the league, but we are to believe that because of different personnel, tough matchup for the old Dallas Cowboys. I mean, never mind that. Just a few weeks ago, they just got crushed by a Patriots team. I believe that one was 42-6. I mean, they barely even scored in that game, but we're to believe. And so what this tells me is that this coaching staff is really good at managing Jerry. You got to hand it to Eberflus and Shoddy, because what you do when you lose a game like that and you give up 1 million yards rushing, you somehow get in Jerry's ear and you convince him, well, we saw that coming. We didn't like our personnel here. We weren't as heavy as we needed to be. And so we thought we could win it. And we thought the offense, and we did everything we thought we were going to do on offense. We just thought we'd get another stop or two. Thought we might get another stop or two in this game. But this is exactly what we thought was going to happen. And again, this is the long history of why Jerry is, why, since you can never make a change at GM, this is insanity. This is just like happens over and over and over again. And there never can be a change. There can be little things, but think about how, Scotty, like ridiculous that is to say, well, we knew it was going to happen. Okay. We knew we were a bad matchup against the Panthers. But there were just some little nuances and some little things. There are no big things. They got blown off the ball for 4 quarters, and they gave up 239 or 240 yards from scrimmage to a guy who called them out.
Yep.
And that is supposed to, the reaction to that is not big things, just little. Scotty, I think to the fan base, the Cowboys fan base, those felt like big things.
Matt,
like giving up that much yardage and points and everything, that felt like a bigger than just little nuances. You got blown off the ball the entire game.
Matt, Jerry said something funny in the clip where he said, it's easy to overlook the Panthers. They're such a touch. Matt, I just looked it up because I was curious. What do you think is the Carolina Panthers record this decade since 2020? What is their record? Do you know?
I'd have to be like 20 games below 500. What are they?
It's a little more dramatic than that, just a little bit. You're really close. 27-63.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised it's that good.
That is the Carolina Panthers record since 2020. So, Jerry, forgive me as a Cowboys fan for thinking that a 27-63 team this decade should be an assumed win. Maybe it should be.
You should apologize. You should apologize for thinking they were gonna, go in there and really run over these Carolina Panthers. Bad matchup. In fact, I'm going to start just so I can be right. Even on some weeks, and with this defense, you'll be right more than not. I'm going to, from here on out, Scotty, I'm going to call every week a bad matchup. Every team. All right. Doesn't matter who's coming up. All right. This is the Commanders this week. Horrible matchup. The personnel, the running back, Jaden Daniels, offensive line, their D-line, some of what Dan Quinn's doing, horrible matchup. I want to get that on the record. All right. Now, and we got some Campus Confidential, and we can save some of it, Scotty. We can do some of it later in the 2 because we got Grayson coming up. But let's play real quick. This one really grabbed my attention, so I want us to give this a really close listen. Jerry seemingly is suggesting that the Cowboys have the ability to have a great pass rush.
About personnel a minute. Where we're our longest, where we're potentially our strongest is pass rush, and we've got the most capable pass rushers that we've had, and we've got the ability to really rotate our our players, which is very important in pass rush because that's probably you exert more energy there than any place else. And so there's ways that we can take our personnel. Speaking of him, there's ways we can take our personnel and address what happened to us Sunday.
After talking about how much better they were going to be against the run, okay, that's where the big issue was, right? We got rid of Micah. We're okay. We're good against the run now. Okay, so they had a horrible day against the run. So now Jerry's going to come back and go, best pass rush we've ever had. Oh, whoa. Okay. I mean, how do we measure pass rush? Oh, pressures, sacks. I mean, college football, we got stop rate. We have knockdowns. We got a lot of different ways to measure takeaways. Sometimes that'll reflect a good pass rush. So, takeaways aren't happening on a regular basis. Sacks don't seem to be happening on a regular basis. So, I need more. I need more. Like, Scotty, let's spend the rest of the show today digging for a stat that we can point to and go, okay, pressures compared to when they had Micah. Because if they're up, if these pressures are way up this year, then I'm fine. I'll go, hey, Jerry was on to something. I don't think we'll find it. That doesn't mean Scotty and I won't spend the rest of our day digging for that information here on the Mosley Show. All right, we got some Campus Confidential. We got a lot of stuff happening in college, and then we have major guest coming up, Baylor guest Grayson Grundhoefer from Sikkim 365 will be joining us at 2 o'clock straight up. All that's coming up next on the Mosley Show.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge?
Yes.
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Collin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Welcome back, Mosley Show. Underdog's not just something that we advertise for. It's something that I play every week. Here's what I've got going on this evening. If you'd like to join me, maybe you can win some money alongside me. Now, not a lot going on a Tuesday, but as you know, Mosley is a playoff baseball guy, and I myself am a huge soccer guy. So I comboed those two things here. Just now, kicking off, England playing Latvia in a World Cup qualifier. Harry Kane is playing. Y'all, he's going to score. So I've got Harry Kane with higher than half a goal today. And then Dodgers. I went with my Baylor Bear, Max Muncy, higher than half. I love that you can pick higher or lower on this stat. Hits, plus runs, plus RBIs. That gives a lot of opportunities for you to get that one right. So I've got higher than half a hit, plus run, plus RBI for my guy, Max Muncy. And then this one has hit for me twice, I think, now in my underdog picks. Higher than 1.5 hits, plus runs, plus RBIs for Shohei Ohtani. I think I'm going to win some money here. And I did do the flex pick, which essentially gives you insurance. So if I get two of these three, I win money. If I get all three, I just win a little more money. Underdog's got a lot of ways for you to play. Great stuff there. You can use this promo code Mosley. You put in $5 to play Underdog. They give you $50 in bonus cash, 10x your money just to play Underdog and follow along with us. Of course, I think it's most fun to play on football weekends. And tomorrow, I will have my college football picks for you on Underdog. Matt Mosley.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for that, Underdog. And always good to see kind of what Scotty's thinking about playoff baseball last night. I think Scotty's going to get the fever at some point, and you can't help but when it's 2-1, bottom of the ninth, bases juiced, Milwaukee at the plate, place is going crazy. Everything is lit up that moment. Blake Snell went out there, just pitched a absolute gem, 8 innings for the Dodgers. They turn it over to the Japanese hurler, 103 mile per hour ability. And he didn't have it. He didn't have it last night. And so they had to go to someone who had not been good late in the season. Trinan, I believe is his name. And all Milwaukee had to do to tie that game up was let that scared pitcher was nervous, threw a breaking ball. It was a loose breaking ball. All he has to do is stand in there and take it. Wasn't even going to leave a bruise. And he got out of the way. Oh, don't let that hit me. And strikes out right after that. Wow. That is how that thing ended. All right, Scotty. So good. Underdog. Thank you, Underdog. Appreciate you. Been with us back since the radio days, the Mosley Show, and are right over here involved now in the Mosley Show and all the things we're doing at Rogue, the Pete Souza Show, so many different places you can catch us. Scotty, we got Grayson coming up. But hit me with some Campus Confidential, everybody's favorite segment where we hit some of the biggest news in college athletics. And this time of year, it's a lot of college football. It's quick hitting. It's good information. It's good opinions. What do you have, sir?
Let's do two stories here before we'll get to Grayson. First of all, we did talk yesterday about the AP Top 25 for men's basketball coming out and Baylor not included. Well, the Baylor women are included as the AP Top 25 for women's basketball dropped today. Here it is. I know that graphic might be a little tight for our viewers on your phones, but it is UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, Texas, LSU, rounding out the top 5. Baylor falls in at number 16. Some other Big 12 teams that make an appearance here. Iowa State at 14. TCU at 17. Isn't that fun for the rivals here? 16 and 17, Baylor, TCU. And Oklahoma State women's basketball at number 22.
Good coaches, man. All those. Nikki, obviously, with Baylor. The longtime Iowa State coach, Finley. And then that Mark, the coach at TCU, one of the cockiest coaches. I mean, he rivals Signetti as far as the cockiest coaches in America. Signetti backs it up. I think the guy from TCU, he's backing it up right now. So let the man talk. And then our buddy from Oklahoma State, man, she is great. She's a great coach. Is it JC? Anyway, she's a big time coach. So that's a good. I'm glad that other poll I saw, Scotty, that I had sent to you that was ESPN put together had TCU quite a bit higher than that. In fact, I think TCU was up as high as somewhere in the 9 to 11 range. In this one, the Bears are ranked ahead of the Horned Frogs. So not sure what that's about, but I'll take it. And Bears ranked as the second best Big 12 team in that AP Top 25, and it's very familiar at the top. All right. I mean, there's nobody up there, honestly, that would shock you. Vic's got it rolling there in Austin. And the only one that's kind of surprising is it's good to see Tennessee after Pat Summitt was so great for so many years. Tennessee's up there knocking on the door again. And then the Sooners, who were good under Sherry Cole for several years, but then faded. And they've made a hire. I think her name is Barancic, and she's up there. And sadly, Tech, who used to be great at women's basketball, they just can't get it right. But, boy, Oklahoma State has hired a great coach. And then who went out and hired that Grand Canyon coach, Molly?
I was going to bring them up. Arizona State hired Molly Miller. It would not surprise me if Arizona State really makes a move this season. I don't know that they get to top 25 status, but yeah, it would not surprise me if they make a serious move in the Big 12 this year with Molly Miller.
A lot of Baylor fans at one point, before we met Nikki, obviously Nikki's done a really nice job, but wanted Molly to Baylor. Now, half of them were doing that, Scotty, because she's a very attractive woman. Let's not act like some folks in the forum weren't maybe biased by that or impacted by that. But anyway, she's a great coach. She really is. And by the way, that you can say that about the Oklahoma State coach on both fronts as well. Yes. Okay. What else do we have before we get to Grayson Grundhoefer?
Matt, this made me really happy, and I believe I saw this right before we went live here about an hour ago on the Mosley show. You know, it's become kind of common. I think I saw TCU doing this first this season, but a lot of programs doing this. Football teams have started tweeting some really creative forms of smack talk after big wins lately. I know you've noticed this. We've called out TCU for doing it really well.
They're good. Yep.
Baylor's tried to get in on this a couple times in kind of a low-key way, but I've seen a lot of athletic departments or football programs, specific Twitter accounts, getting in on some creative smack talk this year. Mosley, the Big 12 conference itself, has entered the chat. You see, Brent Venables today at a press conference was asked about playing a bunch of close games in the SEC. And he said something to the effect of, well, this isn't old Oklahoma where we got to cruise through the whole season. Here's the quote. This isn't the old Big 12 where Oklahoma destroys everybody every week except one game a year, to which the Big 12 conference, the official Twitter account, responds, Coach Venables lost 8 conference games in his 2 seasons in the Big 12. Just a reminder, this is not Bob Stoops talking. This is Brent Venables. And he did not have a particularly illustrious, not a bad Big 12 record, but not a great Oklahoma dominant Big 12 record. I love seeing this. This made me very happy before the show, Mose.
Yeah, I'm loving that. And in fact, I'm going to compliment some of the people I think are behind that. And old friend Clark Williams, by the way, is leaving there to go to SMU. And he's been a friend of ours for a long time in the Big 12 office. But I wanted to find that statement. Oh, there we go. There it is, 54 minutes ago. That's good. That is too good. How do I do clapping emoji, Scotty? Can you help me find that?
No, it's in there, Matt. You just got to scroll to the right spot.
Okay, good. I just simply said nice work and gave him some exclamation. Okay, Grayson Grundhoefer, speaking of nice work, does a good job at Sikkim 365. Lots of injury, lots of recruiting talk. Lots of, Scotty, if there's anything on your brain you want to get in, this is a good time to do it. Grayson Grundhoefer, Sikkim 365, joins us for a wide-ranging discussion. That is next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_HTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
On is Matt Mosley, the Matt Mosley Show. And man, we're excited to be joined by Grayson Grundhoefer. I mean, he's coming right into your screen there. Scotty, he may be looking at those caps you like so much. It almost has a bit of a Hondo look to it there. Some good lettering there. Sorry, Grayson, I've aged into the deal where I've got several different glasses that I have to put on. But thank you for doing this, man. It's been a while. It's fun to be able to get to visit with you. How was your bye week? The week before, you were balancing Baylor coverage with a major wedding in your family, and then you had the bye week. Were you able to get recharged? Did you do some good bye week work? What was your bye week like?
Man, my bye week was busy. I was in Scotland actually because my brother-in-law got married there. So with just 7 other people in the family. So it was a quick trip, quick turnaround, long flight. So all of that, but it went really well. And so, during that time period, watched
A lot of football, honestly. I went back and watched just about every Baylor game. I didn't watch the Samford game just because I wanted to erase that from my mind a little bit. But I've gone through and kind of watched some of the other games, and obviously watched the Big 12 because that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Trying to figure out, who these Big 12 teams are, what they're about, what Baylor's about, what are the things that Baylor can do that these other teams can't do, what are the teams that these teams do that Baylor can't do. And I think that's been kind of an encouraging and discouraging thing, just kind of looking through their schedule and some of the challenges that are coming up, including this weekend against TCU, who's coming off of a very rough performance against Kansas State.
I like that. You were watching cut-ups and watching old games while like on a train to Inverness or headed to the Isle of Skye. That's my homeland, by the way. So I love it in Scotland. And I don't know if I even have any proof of that, but it felt like my homeland when I was over there. Where was the wedding in Scotland, and what were the accommodations? Was it pretty? Were you like in some very old, stone field? What was the place like?
Yeah, so it was it started in Edinburgh. That's where we started the trip and did some of the stuff there. And that was fun. Went to a castle and did that whole tour where movies have been shot, including Harry Potter and a few others. So that was pretty cool. And then we drove up to Pitlochry. And in Pitlochry, that's where we this small town, that's where they got married in this national park over there. So there were only 7 of us there. So it was really, cool family time, and it was great, man. The the environment there, just the grass is greener, the mountains are awesome, the hills are great, the trees changing colors. Like it was really cool to see for sure.
Okay, so I've stayed in Pitlochry. Not that we're going to turn this into a travel blog or something, but yes, I've stayed there. I could almost remember the bed and breakfast. I remember the people, what do they call that? Lawn bowling or whatever. They were playing all that stuff right down the street. And then we played a course there in Pitlochry. And it might have been the one that there was a females only course. Over in the States, it's male only. This was a female only. We could play it, but the men were not allowed in the clubhouse. So, which is kind of nice for once, because it used to be kind of the other way around. So, but there were like ancient ruins on the golf course. So yes, Pitlochry. That's awesome, man.
It was not something I expected at all. Like we scheduled this 2 months ago. So it was quick turnaround for sure.
Your studies of this team during the bye, what were your couple of biggest takeaways? And it certainly seems like obviously defense is where they got to get it turned around. And, you found areas like where they have pressure, but obviously they don't have the sack totals. So they're doing maybe some things right and then not being able to finish those plays. Was there anything that surprised you when you kind of look back and you were trying to get a handle on where the Bears are? Did anything surprise you? Did you come away more encouraged or more discouraged?
So one stat that I don't think it surprised me, but it was definitely something that I think would surprise most people. So I think common knowledge is, Baylor's offense has been good, and it has been. You look at any metric, Baylor is a top 25 offense. I think FE Plus has them at like 14. I think that's the highest they're ranked. I think pretty squarely they're a top 25 offense. But the area that they have not been good, and the area that I think has impacted this team negatively from an offensive standpoint, is they have not done a good job at playing complementary football. Baylor has 9 combined 3-and-outs / turnovers, and Baylor only has 14 points off of those. That's a tough stat to get past. And that's a stat where it's like, yeah, your defense isn't very good, but they really need the offense to go out there and score points after they get a 3-and-out or after they get a turnover. That's how you play complementary football. That's how you help make the defense better. So again, that was just something that really stood out to me, because it's like something that I've been feeling, and I think Baylor fans have been feeling it too, as to maybe this next level that Baylor's offense could get to. I think that was a big one for me, because you anticipate that the defense was bad, and I think we all know the defense has struggled. But I think pointing to something where the offense could take a step forward is equally as important, honestly.
That's interesting. And obviously Trigg just continuing. I mean, I saw some of the things you were talking about in your chat with fans, and there's things that Baylor needs to build on. Hopefully they get healthy. Bryson was banged up in that last game. I found one interesting thing you said. You were talking about Carl, and everybody's waited for him all year, and now he finally played, and then he stopped. He wasn't playing. And it's like other players are playing through injuries. I think you had a comment kind of like, well, they have to wait until he's truly 100%. He continues to go. Like, I've wondered if you just get to the point where you're just like, you just don't expect anything from him this season. Is that the attitude, do you feel like, of anybody from this staff? Or are there people who still think, hey, we can get something from him this season, knowing the context of how much they need him and how much they need help in the back end with some of the injuries and some of the inexperience they have?
It's kind of been an interesting question because you've also looked around, you've seen Jacob Redding emerge and you've seen DJ Coleman emerge at star. And it's kind of like, where would he fit in when he comes back even? And the expectation here was that he was going to be a starter for them. Like, he was going to be a difference maker for them. And he just, he's gotten hurt and he's been dealing with this knee issue. And now I think we're at a point where they're not going to rush him back. They're not going to play him unless he's 100%. I think that's kind of the smart move, right? Because you don't want him to lose confidence. You don't want him to get hurt again, right? I mean, all of those things play a part in it. I still think he can help them. And because of that, if he does get to 100%, I do think you find a role for him. I don't know what that would be. I don't know if he takes over the starting role at field safety, even though Redding's played well there. I don't know if he takes over the star position over DJ Coleman. I kind of don't think that would be the case. I think DJ's played well enough to kind of cement himself as the starter there, but I do think he could play a role and be a factor. And this was a guy who had a lot of upside. They had a lot of expectations for him, and he just hasn't been healthy. So I think they're going to wait till he's 100%. When that happens, could it be next week after this, bye week and after the TCU game? Could it be after their second bye week here coming up at the beginning of November? Could it be at the end of the year? We'll see. But I think it's a waiting game right now for him.
Who in your mind is Baylor's best pass rusher? You've waited for someone to emerge when Jackie got healthy. Obviously, he's maybe your best so-called game wrecker, the ability to get some penetration. But there have been so many opportunities. You've had players get hurt. That could have been part of the mix. But you alluded to 2021 when guys were just making huge plays and they were getting takeaways. And right now, boy, they're not good in the takeaway game. I don't know you probably have it off the top of your head. They're minus, what are they? It's not.
I think it's -4.
Are they for the season? That's a little better, honestly, than I thought. They were in pretty bad shape, so I guess they've gotten a couple more. But is there anybody that's maybe like you alluded to in one of your things on Sickle 365 that's getting some pressure and just not finishing? Or like when you think of, okay, where is the pressure need to come from? Who are the candidates even? Because it's just like it's nobody's getting it done as far as sacks, and obviously sacks lead to takeaways.
I mean, certainly you need Jackie Marshall, Cooper Lands, those guys to be better. They're not necessarily who you think of as great pass rushers. I think they're really good players who have a skill set to get after the quarterback. But I would say that, man, it's been one of those situations where Baylor's had to run a very different defense this year. They're running more peso, which means they got 2 jacks on the field. And that means you're putting Jackie Marshall and Cooper Lands at defensive tackle again. And so therefore they're not in the same situations to get sacks. So the guys that you look at right now, Matthew Fobbs-White is the big one. He's gotten a lot of pressures. I think he's in the top 5 in pressures in the Big 12. Not getting sacks, not finishing plays, over pursuing. Like, he has got to finish plays. And if he does, I think he's a prime candidate to take that step forward. Amarian Winston has shown some flashes as well. You'd like to see Keaton Thomas blitz more because really, and truthfully, Baylor has had a lot more success when linebackers have gotten those sacks, right? Dave Aranda is known for that. But they haven't been able to blitz a guy like Keaton Thomas because I don't know that Kylan Reed can hold up in coverage. And so you're blitzing Kylan Reed, and he hasn't been as productive. So maybe they turn to a guy like Caleb Burns to give them a more pressure package. When he comes in, he was a 4-star freshman this year. Maybe you blitz DJ Coleman and Kendrick Simpkins more from the star position. Maybe they add some versatility there. These are all potential options, but I think at the end of the day, the two that you point to, really are Matthew Fobbs White at the top, and then probably Amari and Winston as your second, especially since they're playing those two guys together so much.
All right, and I kind of want to see where you are on Hoover, Josh Hoover. He's put up some great numbers over the years. They are capable, and I saw him a couple of weeks ago when their star receiver was down that week. He was kind of banged up in that game. He just didn't give him much. When he's on, he's really, really good. And yet I don't know why TCU, for years, they had very talented running backs. And I thought going into this year, maybe they had solved that a little bit. They just don't run the ball very well. Baylor's had moments where they don't run the ball very well. Is that a lack of personnel, injuries? When you kind of start taking a look and breaking down TCU, they continue not to run the ball well. And when does Hoover have issues? I guess is the biggest question, because at times he is very, very accurate. And, again, if given too much time, he can slice and dice you.
The teams that have had success against Hoover, in my eyes, at least, are ones that can get after the quarterback while not having to blitz a ton of guys. And I know I think people all over our board are talking about putting pressure on Hoover and blitzing a bunch of guys. But really, you look at Arizona State, you look at Kansas State, they blitzed a little bit, but it was more so about, could they get home with 3, 4, 5 guys? Were they not having to bring 6, bring too many guys on the blitz, thus allowing you to drop more guys into coverage, right? And that's where Hoover has struggled, right? Is where you can get some pressure on him, but then also you're forcing him to throw against tough looks in the secondary. And I think a big challenge for TCU has been they can't run the football. So people don't really respect them enough to put 6 guys in the box. You're really just dealing with 5 guys in the box a lot. And so because of that, there's an extra defender back there in coverage. And, that's a challenge. That's a challenge for any offense when you're so one-dimensional that the defense is able to get creative with their coverages and make the looks a little bit more difficult for you, even with your really good receivers, which I do believe they have with Eric McAllister, Jordan Dwyer. Those are 2 really, really good players. Even Joseph Manjack's a good slot guy. But I think in general, they do need to get the run game going more with Kavorian Barnes. He's a good player. He transferred in from UTSA. He's been injured kind of off and on, but he played pretty well against K-State. He had 80 yards rushing, which is a lot better than what they've been getting from their running backs recently. But I think that challenge is big for TCU. The fact that they haven't ran the football, again, allows teams to drop guys back and make coverages a little more exotic for Hoover. And then he's just a quarterback who's prone to turn the ball over, as he's got this gunslinger mentality, thinks he can make every throw. At times that's really good. Other times it's really, really bad.
All right. Baylor has not always functioned well at this place in Fort Worth. And Grayson, you're now old enough to have been to some of these games. And I swore this place off. I am attending Saturday's game because I got to do some pregame work. And so I'm going to go up there. I don't like going over there for the most part because I just feel like even since I was a kid, there have been some negative experiences. But this is a huge game for both teams, and it really does feel like both their seasons hinge on this. It's interesting to me to have Dave Aranda coming off the bye. You probably have in your head exactly what he's been coming off the bye. Some coaches better than others, but this is what does this game represent to you other than the huge rivalry that it is? Doesn't it feel like for both teams, the whole conference record, the conference season, everything? Because I feel like some people, including, they've basically handed Dave Campbell's Texas football has already handed the conference title to Tech, but some of us would like to see it played out. This just feels like so much writing on the line in terms of, and I guess it's that way every year. But for some reason, Grayson, since it's a lot earlier, a little bit earlier than we're used to, it does feel like one of those huge swing games.
It is. I think it's much bigger for Baylor, though, when it comes to, actual chances of winning the Big 12. I just look at TCU's schedule. I just don't think that they're capable of getting through that schedule without another loss, which would be their 3rd conference loss. I'm pretty sure that the second place team's probably going to be 7-2 in Big 12 play. I don't see TCU getting to that regardless of if they beat Baylor or not. But for Baylor, it is possible. And I think the other big thing for Baylor is I look at the contenders, right? Tech is obviously one. I think they're going to be in the Big 12 championship at the end of the year. Their schedule is very favorable going forward, and they already have a win over Utah. But for Baylor, you get Cincinnati and you get Utah left on your schedule. And both of those teams, I think, are legitimate contenders to make the Big 12 championship this year, and you get to play them. And so if you take care of business, you could find yourself getting into November, getting into late in the season, and you're still in the conference title picture. And if you win those 2 games, you kind of got to be feeling okay about your chances. That's easier said than done. But I do believe that if Baylor goes in and beats TCU, the conversation is going to change a little bit around this Baylor team. Because right now, I think you look around at Big 12 people who they're talking about, they're not talking about Baylor at all. And I understand it. The defense has been terrible. I get it. Like, I get all the concerns. But I will also say that if they win this game, it sets up a huge matchup against Cincinnati and the rest of their schedule. Again, there is a path to them making the Big 12 championship. I don't necessarily see that path with TCU, regardless if they win this game.
Do you have a sense for what's going on with Ashton? It just seemed like, okay, it was discipline, whatever reason. He was barely involved in that one game, and he was on such a roll, and with Josh, and I mean the whole thing, and they've continued to put up big numbers, but it's weird to see a guy have that huge of an impact through 4 games of the season and then kind of fall off completely. Is there something you feel like there's something going on more than what we're seeing on the field that has that held up what was really seemingly a great connection between Sawyer and Ashton?
I mean, there was obviously, and that's why, he was held out. But I think now I think it's getting back on track. I also think it's something where they need Ashton to perform better. Like, he's too good of a player to have, 2 drops like he had, I believe, against Kansas State. Like, he's got to be a factor for this team to reach their ultimate goals. Now, the good news is, even when he's not playing at the level we know he can play at, they got guys like Kobe Prentice, Cole Wilson, Michael Trigg, Josh Cameron. I think it's also fair to point that out, right? That this ball is going to get dispersed kind of all over the place with Sawyer Robertson. So he's going to find the hot hand, find the guy who's making those plays. And it just hasn't been Ashton these past few games. That needs to turn, because I do think Ashton is a difference maker. I do think Ashton can be a guy that wins you a game. Like, he can be your leading receiver in a game and really take over a game. We kind of saw that against SMU. Him and Josh Cameron took over that game. I do think there is they need him to play at that level, but I also think that sometimes you're going to get a 2 for 34 game from him, and then you're going to get a 6 for 80 from Cole Wilson and a 2 touchdown game from Kobe Prentice. Those things happen because of how they disperse the football. But I do think it's a pretty good observation by you on that, because I do think Ashton needs to perform at a higher level, and we know what he's capable of. And I think that will probably change going forward.
What will it take for Sawyer, who's putting up huge numbers? Did you see Mel Kiper put out his top 10? He put out his big board of all the people he had to draft, but then they broke it down by position. And Sawyer was not in the top 10. Now, I've talked to scouts who really like him a lot. You've done the same. You've run it, but it's almost like the big names in the draft industry or whatever are waiting for someone else to do it or something, and of course, they always play catch up. If at some point this season somebody runs out there, I feel like Todd McShay has been pretty complimentary and said some great things about Sawyer, but do you get a sense of what people are still waiting to see from him? And maybe it's, I wouldn't have a big problem with people saying, let's see him get some more big wins or something like that. But in terms of the numbers he's putting up, there's really almost no one on that board in the top 10. There may be 1 or 2 that are putting up similar numbers to what Sawyer is. So I'm just wondering, is it Baylor for whatever reason? Is it what's the holdup? Do you feel like on people getting their arms around Sawyer as a draft prospect?
I think it's a different conversation when we're talking about, where does he rank as far as quarterbacks in the conference or in the entire, college football landscape in college versus projecting to the NFL. Those are 2 just such different conversations. And it's like, man, the guy that won the national championship last year, Will Howard, went in the 6th round. Guys who put up huge numbers, Bryce Petty, Davis Webb, like we've seen these guys put up huge numbers and they still go late in the NFL draft. And so I think that's where it's kind of different. I think Sawyer is definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Like he is a top 10 quarterback in all of college football. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL draft. I do think he's going to get drafted. I do think he's an NFL quarterback. I don't necessarily know if he's a, first round pick. I think a lot of that's going to come down to how do the other quarterbacks in this class finish, right? Because it's been very disappointing. Like they have not performed a lot of the top upper echelon guys. And so it's kind of caused a lot of people to look at those next guys on the list. And sometimes when that happens, guys sneak up a couple rounds. Maybe that's what happens with Sawyer by the time we get to actual NFL draft season. So again, I think he's going to get drafted, but I'm also not going to say he's a second round pick. I can't go that high at this moment. We've seen so many good quarterbacks go in the 5th, 6th round, and they're still really awesome college quarterbacks. That just doesn't necessarily mean that they're, the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think it's to be determined still for Sawyer a little bit.
It might help if he would take off every now and then and remind people how fast he is, and use that facet of the game. It'll be interesting because I did not see in his top 10 running backs, Bryson did not appear in there as well. I know he hasn't had just an enormous year, but I mean, he's obviously, if not the best running back in the Big 12, one of the best 2 or 3. So it's weird that he's not showing up. So we'll see where all that goes. Hey, what's the best? A little out there question, but like this James Franklin thing made me start thinking about all this. Is the Tech job right now with Joey, because of all the NIL money, does that automatically become the best coaching job in the Big 12? I mean, in some respects, you could argue the opposite of that because then you have a huge target on you, right? Like if you pour that much money in and Joey's only winning 7 or 8 games, he won't be there that long. If they're going to continue to funnel that much money in, like you say, it looks like he's going to have a great season this year. Does that automatically become the best coaching job in the Big 12 because of all that money? Or could you make an argument? I mean, like, for instance, Utah stayed with one guy for like 20 years. There does seem to be huge stability at a place like that. Arizona State has a great young coach. But that team has been very up and down this year. What would you say are the best 2 or 3 coaching jobs in the Big 12 right now?
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I think it does hold some merit that, Texas Tech has a lot of money. They've put a lot of money into the program, and so therefore it's a very intriguing job. The question is, are you going to do that every single year? Mm-hmm. Do you do that year over year? And maybe they do. I mean, maybe that's what happens. And if that does happen, then yeah, that's a top 3 job in the conference because you have the money, the resources. They just upgraded their facilities as well. I don't think the location is great, but again, if you have the money to get to pay above asking price to get guys there, then it doesn't really matter, where it's located. So I think that Tech is probably in that conversation. I do think Baylor and TCU are also in that conversation, being Texas schools. They're in a great location. Both have, in my eyes, competed well when it comes to recruiting and the transfer portal in the last year or two. You're seeing Baylor in the high school recruiting game do a much better job in last year's recruiting class, this year's recruiting class, and in the 2027 one. TCU's always done a good job of that. So I think those 2 are in the mix as well for being, kind of one of those top 3. You mentioned Utah. I'm curious if that's more of a Kyle Whittingham thing or if Morgan Scalley's going to be able to just keep the thing going, right? Is he going to be able to just keep it going no matter what? Is that job really going to be the same kind of job it has been with Kyle as it is with someone else? I don't necessarily know the answer to that. Same with Arizona State. Without Kenny Dillingham, they weren't winning much. So do they have the resources now that, yeah, they're going to be one of the top 3 jobs? I'm not really sure on that. I think that Utah probably has the best case when you're looking at some of the schools outside the state of Texas. But I do think, when you look at Tech, TCU, and Baylor, I think they are up there with the best jobs in the conference. And I think what they've done on the recruiting side of things really speaks to that.
Yeah. And I mean, BYU is not a bad job. If people stay there a long time, They're putting huge funding into it. I think you'd have to convert. Some of these guys would have to, I think most times they hire an LDS coach. So that would be kind of interesting. Okay, you brought up recruiting. Boy, y'all do a great job on all the premium boards. And I think Colt's let me back on there. So I've been monitoring all what y'all are doing. But you and Colt, Levi does such a good job. What's kind of out there, Grayson, with 2026? Are there a couple of battles, or are there things like what's coming up in the next few weeks that are big? And then 2027, like you said, it sounds like off to a good start in that area. I think the best thing is that Baylor has made keeping kids in Central Texas a huge priority. And I don't know why it took so long, but it's like once they did, and maybe they did try and just didn't do a good job of it. Every time I now go to an A&M game and I see Torian York, I can't help but think, oh my gosh, he committed to Baylor back in the day. And that's who you need, right? I mean, he is huge leader. He's everything you want in a player. And at one point, Baylor did zero in on him, and the Aggies probably, came with a little more money, if I had to guess. 2026 and 27, where are the Bears? And through all the winning and losing right now, does everybody seem pretty solid from the recruits that you talk to?
Right. That's kind of been the message that I don't think Baylor fans necessarily want to hear, but recruits are really liking what they've seen from Baylor so far. And yes, there are some guys in this class that are being recruited elsewhere. Jamarian Vincent took an official visit to Michigan. Like they have a really good class. Your guys are going to continue to get recruited, but Baylor's going out and recruiting guys as well and trying to figure out, how do they build on the class? They're really looking on the defensive line. A couple of guys kind of there that I've been keeping my eye on is Kentucky commit Ben Duncombe out of Lake Travis. He's one to keep an eye on. They got a couple other commits. One is committed to Washington State, another to Nevada that they'll probably get on a visit here before the end of the season. Outside of that, kind of just looking for best available guys, maybe looking to circle back on some guys that maybe they lost or missed out on. That's kind of been their MO here for the 2026 class. And I think that will become probably more apparent as the season goes on. Right now, they're kind of at a standstill because they have all these road games coming up. The homecoming game against UCF will be a very big one, and kind of, I think, is going to be the one where they bring a lot of guys back. A lot of guys that they're in on in the 2026 class will be at that game. It kind of gives Baylor a chance to potentially have an official visit that weekend. That could happen. Usually they wait till the end of the year, but I have a feeling that you might have to do that kind of in the middle of the season if you want to get some of these out-of-state guys in on a visit. Mentioning the 2027 class, I mean, they just got a huge commit with Carice Hoyt out of Lone Star. I mean, they have him and Devontre Kirkland committed. That is a heck of a start to that class. That's 2 4-star prospects locked in now. We saw the damage they did in 2026 with 4-star guys, and they're just kind of keeping that momentum up with these guys. Hoyt, really good prospect, could be a receiver, could be a safety, could even be a linebacker, depending on how his body grows, but a really, really good athlete, and one that I know the staff was very excited about. He was a priority for them. So to get him locked in with Devontre Kirkland is a very nice start to the class. And that's kind of where things are at. You also have to remember Baylor's going to keep room for this portal window. So you're going to take a bunch of high school guys, sure, but you're also going to leave some room because Baylor's going to be pretty aggressive in the transfer portal once again to go out and replenish this roster, and then also try to figure out what's going on with 5x5. How many of these guys are going to come back for another year if that rule passes. That's going to add a whole nother layer of context to this and trying to figure out, who gets an extra year, what positions are set, what positions need to be recruited, what positions are we too, are you too loaded at to take other guys. That's going to just add a whole nother facet of this. Recruiting has never been more of a numbers game than it is now. And that's kind of what Baylor's dealing with, along with every school in the country.
All right, I'm still trying to figure out a way to get Sawyer another year. I've been looking at some different things.
Yeah.
I don't know who to sue. I do know some good lawyers. I went to law school, so we could look at that. Do you think some of these kids would enjoy coming to like Baylor Homecoming Parade, maybe see the KOT float, see what the Kappas came up with? Do you think that could make an impact?
I mean, homecoming's always a cool one. I don't know if it'll necessarily be because of the floats, but if Baylor brings out a good environment, I know that'll be great. I mean, they didn't for the K-State game, so having a really good environment, a good home crowd, definitely does wonders. When you're bringing in a bunch of recruits, but in general, I think all the recruits feel just such a great atmosphere when they visit Baylor, and that's been a difference. They love this staff, and that is a key to recruiting. There's a lot of trust built by all these guys. You talk about the coaching staff, but also you look at guys like Aaron Hunt, the GM. He does an amazing job recruiting as well. Ed Paris, Aaron Appleberry. Like, these are really, really good recruiting guys. And then you look at the staff, and they got good recruiters up and down the staff. There's a lot of trust in Dave Aranda. I think that is where there's positivity, and that is where there is momentum. Even if the on-the-field product isn't up to some fan standard, there's still a lot of football left to be played this year. And on the recruiting side, things have definitely been taken care of so far.
All right. And I think you're smart when those fans start asking you, what's the buyout for Dave? To say, hey, I'm not getting into that. And you just hope, like last year, this is the point of the year when it got rolling, when Baylor got on a roll. So why not let it happen this year? I always enjoy you and Colt when I'm driving down, preparing for the pregame show, the Green and Gold pregame show, I listen to y'all's last thing of the week because you talk, about the health of the team. And so y'all do a great job on that. All your Sick'em 365, and you got stories. I laugh when the fans are like, why don't y'all do this or something? You're very nice to them. But if you're like, are the 7 or 8 features I do not enough?
I know. We try to cover it all, but I also know that it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. And some people don't have an hour to listen to a podcast. So I get it.
Yeah. And, our next one, maybe we'll have more time to react to the huge Baylor exhibition that they had the other day over Grand Canyon. Yeah. But, I sit by Levi at all the games, and I've always liked him and loved his baseball coverage. So good to have him on football. And then the young guy to his left seems like a fun guy. And I think that's a good feature when you guys take all what everybody else is saying and all, and kind of do a compilation kind of thing. And so I got to meet him, but,
are you talking about Will?
I think that's Will. Yeah. Down there. He's sitting next to,
he does a great job. And he actually had a really good piece on Quinn Murphy this week for anybody that's looking around, trying to figure out, what's going on with the Baylor recruiting guys. I mean, he was just, he had a great article on Quinn. I've gotten to know Quinn really well. Great kid, great, just ambassador for Baylor recruiting right now. And it's just, again, momentum is absolutely there on the recruiting side. And Quinn Murphy is kind of the leader behind that 2026 class. So I encourage anyone to check that out. Will Bowles did a great job on that article on him.
All right. Yeah. And, but you Scotty Swingler did not appear at any point during our discussion, Grayson, and one mention of Quinn Murphy. I mean, he just goes crazy. He's excited. So he'll get right to that Will Bowles story. But
Quinn Murphy Stan. I already retweeted Will's story and told him he did an excellent job.
Yeah, he really did. He knocked it out of the park, and he hasn't done a ton of articles yet. So it was great to see. He was texting me a little bit about it and asked me if he needed any more questions. I'm like, dude, you got this. You got this.
Crushed
he killed it.
He absolutely crushed it.
All right. See, that's the way to make sure Scotty's paying attention. Just one mention of any quarterback recruit, we'll bring him in. Hey, Grayson, thank you. We'll do more of this, and Ashley's a great friend, and so we've been talking about stuff for a long time, and so it's really fun to be able to hang out and get to visit with you guys again. So thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on anytime.
You bet. The man from Scotland, he's back. Pitlochry. I can't believe that, Scotty. That's crazy. That's where I stayed. I went to the British Open in 2000 with my dad, and we stayed in Pitlochry, and it's just a little tiny village town in Scotland. Nobody would know about Pitlochry, and that's where the Grundhoefers, that's where they were hanging out. That's where his brother-in-law was doing his thing. So very, very exciting stuff, and good information there on a lot of different fronts. There's one thing I didn't even get to, but interesting discussion. Scotty, I wouldn't mind staying right there because, like, in terms of the best coaching jobs in the Big 12, I can make arguments at several different stops, including the team we cover the most, including the Baylor Bears. Let's stay right there. Let's talk about it a little bit. on the Matt Mosley Show on the Rogue Media Network.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open-source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
It is the Mosley Show, and man, that was nice with Grayson there, Grayson Grundhoefer. Good to have Sick'em 365, and Scotty will grab that interview, and maybe I think they'll hopefully want to run that and promote our show. We'll promote some of Grayson, so that'll be good. That'll be good. But lots to cover there. Scotty, what were you most interested in seeking from? Was it Quinn Murphy related? He did bring it up, and I'm glad you were able to react to that. But what were you most interested in finding out from Grayson? Because we'll certainly get to the bottom of that next time he's on. What were you interested in?
Yeah, I think if I had to ask him one more question, I wanted to hear about Carice Hoyt, so I'm glad he mentioned him. That news over the weekend was huge, and I was going to ask him about what positions he's going to play. So Grayson mentioned receiver or safety, because I had assumed he was going to come play offense. He is just an absolute Swiss Army knife of a weapon at Lone Star, but my friend Tim Watkins at 24/7 Sports thinks he's more likely to play safety. So it's curious to me that Grayson said both. Well, he could play receiver or he could play safety.
He said he mentioned linebacker too at the end. Yeah,
he did. And that almost, I could almost, and this is what Tim said too, is that he almost really fits the profile of what Dave likes in a star. If you think of how Jalen Petrie was used in 2021, I think that's kind of, not that I expect anyone to rise to the level of Jalen Petrie. That would be a very high ceiling. But that's kind of the position, I think, on defense that makes sense. Anyway, and then the other thing we didn't get to was, and we teased at this a little bit when we talked about the crowd at homecoming. I want to know why these recruits, and they are high caliber, high profile recruits. I mean, Aranda's bringing in some guys, an amount of 4-star players that I don't think Rule or Bryles ever got in a couple of classes consecutively like this. And I want to know what about the culture at Baylor has them so excited when seemingly this whole in-stadium fan experience has been so underwhelming, to say the least.
Well, just the one. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, this year there was just one really bad, underwhelming fan experience.
I mean, but I wouldn't even say the fans were that engaged for the Arizona State game. I mean, I thought that was a pretty underwhelming environment. I thought,
if you were sitting out in it, so you would have. I was in the press box, so you would have a better feel for that. But I thought that night, especially given the fact that it had the bad start, it didn't work out against Auburn. I thought the crowd was a pretty good crowd that night. But part of it is, think about it, to even get back in that game, they were messing around too much that game, just like they did against K-State, and it took like 2 straight drives at the end to get back in that game. I mean, that's the thing. This team could be, I think you could make an argument that they could be better than they are, but you could also make an argument that they could be worse, right? I mean,
listen,
they're sitting 4-2, and I think everybody should feel pretty good about being 4-2.
Listen, I said the day after that Kansas State game, please bear with me. I said, you are 2 Jacob Redding interceptions between 2-4 and 4-2. I mean, you pick off Kevin Jennings in the end zone at SMU. If that goes for a touchdown, Baylor doesn't win that game. You have the pick 6 against K-State. You could potentially still win it without that play, but do you? I highly doubt it. So yeah, you're really 2 Jacob Redding interceptions away from 2-4.
We live in a weird world now where, I mean, with like Grant Taff, we watched like 20 years of consistency. It wasn't great every year. It very rarely sort of bottomed out, and then they kind of pushed him out before it was time. We now live in a time when it's not good enough for some of these coaches to like win a ton of football games. And that's why I hear people talk about the thin margins, right? I heard about it. I think, Louis Riddick was talking about it during one of the Monday Night Football games last night. And like, that popped into my head as we were talking about like how this season could go either way for Baylor or TCU. Like both teams could win this game, and then you're for Baylor, you're 5-2. You only have the one conference loss, and you're feeling pretty good about things. Feeling really good about things coming off a road loss. Baylor loses the game and it goes 4-3. We're right back to you got Cincinnati, a road trip. You got to play Utah. I mean, like Utah, you get right back to saying, is he going to survive this? I mean, it's such a week to week.
By the way,
it used to not be that way, but it's way more like the NFL than it's ever been.
True. Look at these standings, though. This is what I like about Baylor's schedule, Matt. Here are the teams above Baylor in the standings. Baylor is 2-1, now ahead of Iowa State. BYU and Texas Tech are at the top. You do not have to play them. Thank goodness. No BYU, no Tech on your schedule. You do get to play 3 of these teams, 1 ahead of you, 2 tied with you. You still have Cincinnati, you still have Utah, and you still have Houston. So if you win those games on your schedule, Matt, you easily move up to 3rd place here. And by the way, BYU and Texas Tech do play one another. And so one of those teams will lose that game. And you presume, as Grayson said, it's pretty hard to imagine a scenario where a conference championship participant doesn't have 2 losses just because of the depth of this league. So Baylor, for all the caveats and the margins and the flaws, I feel like we've said this ad nauseum, but it is still all in front of them. Especially when, again, you look at the league standings, you look at those teams listed above Baylor. Oh, we don't play the top 2, and 3 of the 4 are still ahead of us on the schedule.
Yeah, and I like that you have this attitude about Baylor, completely different attitude than you have about the Cowboys, because you.
Well, I've seen what I listen. I told you with the Cowboys, I wasn't going to get excited about beating the Giants and the Jets, and I think I was justified. Baylor has shown me potential that they can beat anybody, and again, the Cowboys have the AFC West left on their schedule. The Bears do not have Texas Tech and BYU left on their schedule.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I've seen the potential they could beat anybody, because it's only Oklahoma State and K-State. So Auburn's turned out to be,
Auburn's
they've gotten jobbed a couple times, but
Auburn has
pretty bad.
Auburn has 2 losses that were greatly affected by atrocious officiating.
I know, I get it, but they were still up 10-0. They got a horrible call, and they didn't score a point in the second half the other night. So I don't hear too much of the Auburn's whining, because
I get it. Yeah, I get it, but it should have been 17-0 at half.
Okay.
They got jobbed.
I'm just saying, neither one of the teams they lost to has been that good, although SMU has won a ton of conference games, regular season conference games in a row. Now, the problem with SMU, who have they lost to? They've lost to 2 Big 12 teams, right? So SMU's dropped their 2 losses are both to Big 12 teams. Am I right about that? Who was the other one? SMU lost to
TCU.
That's right. So I am right about that. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, you're right, though. Baylor and TCU have the exact same record overall, but because of the TCU having the 2 conference losses, it feels different. Now, one thing, Scotty, we look at our time. Oh, God, we're running out of time. We'll do more of this tomorrow, but I thought that was an interesting discussion on like how many candidates there are for best coaching job in the Big 12. Because it's hard to say, because I don't think Tech ever was considered that great of a coaching job until they just started like a cannon of money. They just started firing a bunch of money at it. And suddenly, Like Cody Campbell didn't get rich overnight. He's been rich now for probably 10 or 15 years. But when the NIL hit, he was ready to go. And so they've gone crazy. And they have this portal. And what even backs it up more, and it's why you have to give them credit for getting the right people in the portal and recruiting the right people with all their money. I mean, does it make it easier? Yeah, absolutely. Do you still have to get the right people? Yes. And today, Scotty, I was looking at Mel Kiper's top 10 at every position in the NFL. It was like defensive tackle, tech kid. Defensive end, 2 tech kids. Like when in the world has Tech had like 3 or 4 potential top 3 or 4 round guys in the NFL? It never happens. I mean, they'll have like one really good pass rusher or maybe one good linebacker or safety or something. But like this year's team literally could have 3 day 1 or day 2 dudes in the NFL draft. It's unheard of, okay? Because they're buying players. Hey, Baylor's doing it too. Everybody's doing it. Some people are doing it with more weapons. So you could argue that Texas Tech has become the best coaching job in the Big 12, which is crazy thinking about where it is. Can you win in Lubbock? Can you get kids to come to Lubbock? It turns out that kids will go anywhere for huge money. Shocker, okay? Now, after Texas Tech, it's not, it gets a little interesting. It's like Colorado has some things going for it. It's gorgeous. It's the mountains. It's Dion's turned that into a much better coaching job than it was. I don't think it's the best. I think he may have turned it into a top 5 in the conference. Whittingham and Utah has won so much over the years. They've been so consistent. They've won so many, even in the Pac-12. They were winning the Pac-12 conference, okay? Even when the Pac-12 was a thing. So I think Utah deserves to be in the discussion. Baylor's a tough one because you've got great facilities. You got a great stadium. Fan base is a little bit iffy right now. You've got great support from the donors. I mean, you really do. I mean, you have people that are stepping up and willing to put up big, big money. I mean, so Baylor, certainly can be a top 5 coaching job in the Big 12. Is it one of the 2 or 3 best? Probably not. Probably not, especially not right now. It's not like Dave Aranda has come in and been so great that he's like, oh, man, Baylor's an incredible job. There are still people like, if Dave Aranda got fired, I do think G.J. Kinney and Traylor and a lot of folks would be very interested in that Baylor job. But it would not be up there with Penn State, Nebraska if it opens, Auburn, Florida. It's probably not close to those jobs. Probably not close. And yesterday, this discussion kind of started, Scotty, with me just asking you, is Indiana a better coaching job than Baylor? And in terms of football. And right now, they're top 5 in the country. They got unbelievable players right now. They got 3 or 4 defensive ends who would all come in, start for Baylor immediately, be Baylor's best players. All right? Same thing at linebacker. I mean, with all apologies to Keaton and some of my guys, they're good. That guy went in there. I don't know how in the world he did it. He got some people to come in. He got a great transfer quarterback. They're good. They're really good. And it pains me to say that Indiana is a better coaching job than Baylor, but right now, I don't know how you would argue against it. Scotty, can you make any argument that Baylor is a better football coaching job than Indiana right now?
No.
You can't do it. Yeah.
No.
You might make a facilities argument. I don't know enough about what Indiana has facilities-wise to know. My guess is that Baylor's facilities are much better than Indiana's at every level. Stadium, the Fudge Center, the practice fields, I would say Baylor's ahead. But now I have not studied, and Cignetti may be closing in, because here's the thing. Scotty, what's changed? Huge. The facilities race is a whole different game. It's now just an NIL race.
Correct.
Signetti's kind of like, well, if you can get me a decent practice field and a couple, maybe some flat screens in the locker room, we'll be okay.
Correct. But to answer your question about the Big 12, I think there's a lot of good answers here, and you said that. My first thought when you asked me before we started the show today, my first thought was honestly BYU. I think you get a very similar level of financial commitment to Texas Tech. I mean, just look at what they spent on their basketball program.
Yeah.
Facilities are fantastic.
Fans are great.
The fan support is tremendous around America. I'm a mountains guy, so that's just a tiny personal perk for me. And I think you've got enough of a winning legacy and tradition there. I mean, I think you kind of have it all at BYU.
But you can't get hired if you're not part of the church. And so that's an interesting.
Is that true?
A smaller pool. If you can find me back to Lavelle Edwards, straight up here to Kalani, Satake, if you can find me someone that was not a member of LDS, then we'll have that conversation. But I think every single coach back to Lavelle Edwards and whatever they did before that, I think you have to be a member of the church. So it's still a great job, but it seems to be only a great job if
it's not available to everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
So and then the other thought I have, and there's some biases in this, but I think it's true. I think you could argue, and Grayson said this, you could really look at Tech, TCU, or Baylor and make some arguments. Anytime you get to coach and recruit in Texas, you're going to have a leg up on a lot of other jobs in the country. All three of those schools, and where I would not yet include Houston, although give Houston some time and some Willie Fritz wins and maybe they catch up. Houston is significantly behind those other three right now in terms of support and in terms of facilities. But Baylor, TCU, and Tech are all great facilities, great recruiting beds, great history of recent success at various points. Different culturally, but all I would say positive football culture, depending on what you're looking for. The primary difference between those three at the moment is the financial investment of Cody Campbell.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think Baylor people will continue. I hope Dave this is a non-starter, but until Dave wins and at a sustained level and is consistent, a lot of Baylor fans will wonder what Joey's record would have been at Baylor during the time he's been out at Tech, because obviously they had a chance to hire him and they didn't do it. And Mac picked Dave. And by the way, at the time, I'm sure there were people that wanted Joey, but at the time, let's not act like we all were like horrible hire. I mean, they were coming off a national title. Dave Aranda was the defensive coordinator at LSU. Orgeron was riding high. It seemed like a pretty logical hire. And I think right now it still is a mixed bag. He's not been horrible. He's certainly not been great. He's been somewhere right in the middle. He's been average, really. I mean, he's had his moments, but overall, he's just been kind of average 500 coach. And Joey has not been incredible even at Tech, but he's on pace this year to get them to places perhaps they've never been. And so he has turned a corner. I don't know if that corner was possible at Baylor. I don't know. I mean, Dave's done more than he's done because Dave won a Big 12 title. Okay, Scotty, good stuff. The landing. Thank you, Brazos Landing. We land here every day. We love it. We love the food. Scotty will probably, if Scotty had time to hit a happy hour, that's exactly what he'd go do. A perfect fall day on the banks of the Brazos. He'd go stare at the river. He'd go dream about some stuff. I mean, it's just a beautiful place to go. Just take a buddy over there, maybe watch a watch something tonight, watch a baseball game. What a fun place it is. Or that New Orleans bar, that indoor bar. Thank you, Cherry Johnson, Sigmund James. Thank you, CNB, for what you do. Thank you, Ascension. Love that banner headline that we give you. And then Schmaltz. And then we got more to come. Got more excitement to come. Got more folks wanting to associate with the old Mosley Show. Great stuff, Scotty. And thanks to Grayson Grundhoefer and Sick'em 365. All of that. We'll have another big show planned for you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Be with us right at 1. Okay? We'll do it all over again. Good night, everybody.